morning. I just wanted to bring this public service announcement to you today. We have an incredible problem going around nationals, one that could prove to be quite inconvenient, has the potential of being disastrous, and all out slightly scary. And we wanted to bring it to your attention to avoid awkward moments. Awkward moments in the hallway, awkward moments in the quiz, awkward moments in the bus, awkward moments with people that you may not even know. And this awkward moment may get you to know them better than you want to know them. And we want to talk about that today. So thank you for joining me for this public service announcement. The epidemic that is quickly gripping a lot of nationals needs to be put to a stop. It needs to be nipped in the bud, cut out, removed, thrown away. Just don't do it anymore. Yes, we all know that the problem I'm talking about is clothespins. Now, there's nothing wrong with clipping clothespins onto a person, unbeknownst to them, when they aren't looking, when they don't realize that you've bumped into them, but there's another issue going wrong. One that is very disturbing. That is clothespinning the shirt tails. That's right. Some of you guys have been very, very intricately sneaking up behind people and clip right on their little shirt tails. I find that disturbing. You just had your hand near my caboose. I'm not a big fan of people putting their hand near my behind. And I know there's a lot of other people that are not really fond of that either. So I just want to put this public service announcement out there. This needs to stop. Now, there are some appropriate areas in which clipping a clothespin can be appropriate. Areas such as the ear, the name tag, the sleeve, the shoelace, the pant leg, the back of the collar, the ponytail, the nose, and the pet dog. Okay, we might want to put the pet dog up there with clipping on the shirt tails. Not a good idea. All is to be said. Please do us all a favor and avoid that awkward moment. Please stop pinning clothespins to shirt tails. And you never know when you might clip it on the wrong person and they had bean burritos for breakfast. That could end badly. Very badly. That would stink. So anyway, this is Andrew checking out. Enjoy clothespinning at nationals, but do me a favor. Don't clothespin people's shirt tails. Let's not make things any more awkward than they have to be. Good day.
This public service announcement is brought to you by those of us who care, because we care.
Good morning. My brother Nat and I are going to share a story with you about a man who met Jesus in a way he never thought possible. He didn't know God was like this. And there's also men in this story who, when they met God face to face, it made them angry because God didn't fit into their box. And we challenge you this morning as you listen to this story just to ask the Lord, Lord, are there ways that I've put you in a box that I'm not willing to accept you for who you really are, Jesus? And ask the Lord to change those things in your heart.
As he passed by, he saw a man blind from birth.
And his disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?
Jesus answered, "It was not that this man sinned, or his parents, but that the works of God might be displayed in him. We must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world." Having said these things, he spit on the ground and made mud with the saliva. Then he anointed the man's eyes with the mud and said to him, "Go, wash in the pool of Siloam," which means sent.
So he went and washed and came home seeing.
The neighbors and those who had seen him before as a beggar were saying, "Is this not the man who used to sit and beg?" Some said, "It is he." Others said, "No, but he is like him."
He kept saying, I am the man.
They said to him, "Then how were your eyes opened?"
He answered, the man called Jesus made mud and anointed my eyes. He told me to go to Siloam and wash. So I went and washed and received my sight.
They said to him, "Where is he?"
He said, I do not know.
They brought to the Pharisees the man who had formerly been blind. Now, it was a Sabbath day when Jesus made the mud and opened the man's eyes. So the Pharisees again asked him how he had received his sight.
He said to them, he put mud on my eyes, and I washed, and I see.
Some of the Pharisees said, "This man is not from God, for he does not keep the Sabbath." But others said, "How can a man who is a sinner do such signs?" And there was a division among them. So they said again to the blind man, "What do you say about him, since he has opened your eyes?"
He said, he is a prophet.
The Jews did not believe that he had been blind and had received his sight until they called the parents of the man who had received his sight and asked them, "Is this your son, who you say was born blind? How then does he now see?"
His parents answered, we know that this is our son, and that he was born blind. But how he now sees, we do not know, nor do we know who opened his eyes. Ask him, he is of age, he will speak for himself. His parents said these things because they feared the Jews, for already the Jews had decided that if anyone confessed Jesus to be Christ, he was to be put out of the synagogue. Therefore his parents said, he is of age, ask him.
So for the second time, they called the man who had been blind and said to him, "Give glory to God. We know this man is a sinner."
He answered, whether he is a sinner, I do not know. One thing I do know, that though I was blind, now I see.
They said to him, "What did he do to you? How did he open your eyes?"
He answered, I have told you already, and you would not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you also want to become his disciples?
And they reviled him, saying, "You are his disciple. But we are disciples of Moses. We know that God has spoken to Moses. But as for this man, we do not know where he comes from."
The man answered, why, this is an amazing thing. You do not know where he comes from, and yet he opened my eyes. We know that God does not listen to sinners, but if anyone is a worshiper of God and does his will, God listens to him. Never since the world began has it been heard that anyone opened the eyes of a man born blind. If this man were not from God, he could do nothing.
They answered him, "You were born in utter sin, and would you teach us?" And they cast him out. Jesus heard that they had cast him out. And having found him, he said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?"
He answered, and who is he, sir, that I may believe in him?
Jesus said to him, "You have seen him, and it is he who is speaking to you."
He said, Lord, I believe. And he worshiped him.
Jesus said, for judgment I came into this world, that those who do not see may see, and those who see may become blind. Some of the Pharisees near him heard these things and said to him, are we also blind? Jesus said to them, if you were blind, you would have no guilt. But now that you say, we see, your guilt remains. The man in this story had a testimony. He had met Jesus. He didn't know all the theology, but he had met Jesus and he had a testimony, and that was something that no one could take away from him. My own testimony, in a few seconds, is apart from Jesus, I, Nat, am a self-centered snob. But in Jesus, I've found a love that's given me new purpose, new meaning for my life, and a new perspective in the way I see God, the way I see life, the way I see the people around me. And that's Jesus in me. If you've met Jesus, you have a testimony. And that's something that no one can take away from you.
This is Josh Bickney's. Josh is a graduate of, how do you like it?
Medium rare.
And you are married now, is that correct?
I am married. Yep.
And how long ago?
2.5 months.
Okay, congratulations. And I understand there's a pretty good song that was sang at your reception that we should all hear about sometime.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
You want to tell us?
Number of
You want to tell us the title of the one that your brothers did? I think it was your brothers.
Yeah,
or your father?
they did it. They put together a barbershop quartet. If my nose ran money, I'd blow it all on you.
And was your brother that's here quizzing, was he a part of that song?
Yes.
So
I think he did the tenor. Or
Okay.
maybe the bass. I don't remember.
And your dad is here at this tournament as
right.
well?
So we've got
So
3
we-
out of the 4.
So we really could
No,
almost...
2.
Well, that's enough.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be half bad.
Yeah.
We could actually have them probably give us a concert sometime.
I heard that John Peterson.
Easy now, easy now. How did the Lord get a hold of you?
Well, I grew up in a Christian family, and for most of that time, I knew a lot of the Bible, and I was a quizzer for 6 years, and went through a lot of the motions, but just didn't go, I didn't take it to heart as much. And so it was in college where, through some various circumstances and some brokenness, that I just turned to the Lord, because he was the only one left that I had, and he really was there for me and really provided, and I could get into it, but he's shown himself faithful when I really needed him.
And at what point in your life did you go to the Evergreen Center then, and what kind of an impact did that have on you?
That was in 2014 and 2015, so I was in the middle of engineering school actually at the time, and that was a full year that I took off, like a gap year for that.
Sure.
And it is life-changing. Evergreen is just a school where you can go. It's non-accredited, but if you are a basket case and you need Jesus, then that's an option.
Good for you. Okay. And if there's one thing that not necessarily tied to your message this morning, but that you want the kids to know? I mean, it can be tied to your message, but if there's one thing that you want the kids to know, what would that be?
If there's one thing,
What's one thing that stands out to you as in your relationship with the Lord?
the world will leave you empty, but Jesus will fill you up.
All right. Thanks, Josh.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning. Will you stand with us as we worship? God, I look to you. I won't be overwhelmed. Give me vision to see things like you do. God, I look to you. You're where my help comes from. Give me wisdom. You know just what to do. God, I look to you. I won't be overwhelmed. Give me vision to see things like you do. God, I look to you. You're where my help comes from. Give me wisdom. You know just what to do, and I will love you, Lord, my strength. I will love you, Lord, my shield. I will love you, Lord, my rock. Forever all my days, I will love you, Lord. God, I look to you. I won't be overwhelmed. Comes from. Give me wisdom. You know just what